Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to inform you that the rumors are indeed true. The Democrats have struck back. In the New Jersey governor's race, the Democrat won. In the Virginia governor's race, the Democrat won. And in the New York City race, Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani defeated Andrew Cuomo to become the next mayor of America's largest city. But the question on everyone's mind is, was it just a fluke? Just easy wins in blue cities and states? Or is there something more to this? Is this a sign of things to come? Is the Democratic Party finally turning their losing streak around? Are they actually listening to the people now? Did they finally learn their lesson? No.
No.
Thanks for watching.
The answer is always no.
My last 3 videos about electoral politics were warning the Democratic Party that young men were moving right because the party f***ing sucks and was becoming the young men eat and die movement, spanking the Democratic Party for losing because they elected one of the most unlikable shittiest candidates while offering absolutely nothing to voters, and defending the voters from the wrath of a bunch of liberal streamer man-children calling the voters stupid and evil for daring not to vote for Hillary Clinton and brownface. But the thesis for all 3 of those videos was basically the same. As the right embraces working-class populism, the Democratic Party and the left will continue to fade into irrelevancy. But as I also predicted in those last videos, there might be an eventual pendulum swing, and it might be happening much sooner than I predicted. Like, how did we go from Republicans winning the popular vote, in part thanks to a lot of the young people voting, to a bunch of data showing those same young people dropping their support?
It's because Donald Trump spoke to the working class. He spoke to younger people who are going into the workforce for the first time, who are seeing that it's impossible to get in. It's impossible to get a leg up. And that he promised more jobs, higher wages, lower prices on goods, more housing. And after a year, what do we have to show for it? None of those things. Sure, gas prices are down, but where am I going? I can't afford to go anywhere. Great. Okay, I appreciate that, but how does that help me with paying my bills, with getting into a home, with getting a job that I can start a career in? Instead, we're doing H-1B1 visas by the hundreds of thousands, and 80 to 90% of those are for entry-level jobs. It's not because they're more talented. I'd understand if it was middle management or C-suite execs that were getting H-1B1 visas. No, it's for entry-level jobs. It's squeezing out the American worker. It's squeezing out Americans. After an entire year, what do we have to show for it? Oh, 50-year mortgages? I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Great. My monthly for the mortgage goes down by $50. That's really helpful. Now I get to pay for it for 50 years. That doesn't help me at all. Not only that, but this stuff with the Epstein files, just telling us, oh, we don't worry about it. Like, if you're worried about the Epstein files, you're not really part of my MAGA. What do you mean? It's a bunch of evidence of people doing horrible things to kids. What do you mean we don't need to worry about it? Why isn't anyone getting arrested? And the other thing is, here's the thing. All right, so we found all of Epstein's emails. Why are we not getting a subpoena or a warrant to go and look at everyone's emails who was related to him, who was hanging out with him, who had a lot of correspondence with him? That's kind of how investigations work. And that's the issue.
For the GOP already. But the interesting thing is,
it's
those
a
young
clown
people
show.
Don't seem to be moving to the Democratic Party either. Where are they going? And do the Democrats have a plan to scoop these people up? Yes.
And the reason why they're not moving to the Democratic Party either is because the Democrats are being irrational. Like in Minnesota recently, we just found out there's all of that fraud going on. Why are you protecting it? Why are we covering it up? Why are you not investigating it? This has been going on. I saw some from like 1998. It's been going on for near 30 years, and no one has done anything or said anything or tried to stop it, or that's taking money out of my pocket to pay for fraud. Why are we pretending like this isn't happening? Everyone knows that it's happening. Obviously it's going to happen. There's going to be fraud. The thing is, you're supposed to stop the fraud. You're supposed to investigate and try to stop it. Of course, there's going to be murders. You can't stop murders from happening, but you're supposed to investigate the murders so that then, there's punishments for the people who did the bad thing. And until the Democrats can pull themselves together and just do the thing that, hey, we have rules for this, don't do this thing, we're going to enforce the rules that already exist, they're going to keep losing. Or at least focus on things that matter. Like wages, jobs, housing. If you're not going to focus on those three things that 100% of everyone is concerned about and needs, you're not going to win. Like, I understand that there is a need to protect, the LGBT community. I get it, okay? But when I'm concerned about when my next meal is, I could give a damn about anybody else. If I'm about to get foreclosed on and kicked out of my home or become homeless and I can't get a job, I'm putting out 200 applications and the jobs are getting taken up by H-1B1 visa holders and the prices of food are skyrocketing and my bills are going up and my housing, I'm about to get kicked out. I don't care about other people. I am concerned about me. And once my housing situation, once my work and my bills are taken care of, now I have a little bit of breathing room. I can start worrying about my neighbors and about other people. Until that's taken care of, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up.
They do, and they called it, I'm not kidding, deciding to win. Deciding to win, as if the whole time they have just been simply deciding to lose. It was a choice, guys. They changed their mind and they want to win now. In this video, I will talk about why I think Zohran Mamdani won. We will go through the Democrat Party's plan to decide to win. We will briefly talk about the rise of the political commentator Nick Fuentes, the MAGA civil war, and what I like to call the inevitable rise of shoesalism. If that sounds interesting, stick around. If it doesn't, you can leave. It's not like I'll miss you or anything, but baka. I know a lot of you are not very interested in politics. You come here for the fun Reddit slop, the men versus women content. Yeah, I know. But unfortunately, politics kind of seeps into your lives whether you want it to or not. So you might as well be entertained when you hear about it and have some fun with it when you can. And I just so happen to have the perfect app for that. So before we get into this political deep dive, let's quickly give a shout out to today's sponsor, one of my favorite. Right. Now, let's get back to the video. For those of you familiar with the Shoe on Head channel, you know I've harshly criticized the Democratic Party for all my career. Some say too harshly. Frankly, I don't care. And some say I'm not harsh enough on the Republicans. First of all, true, but let's be honest, that's not why you come here. You go to Kyle Kulinski for that. Just like you go to Destiny to see opinions you can hear on CNN, or to Hassan for dog training tips. You come here to hear, golly gee willikers, I'm left-wing and the Democrats have gone crazy. That's the shit you're here for. But are the Democrats actually getting their shit together? Or did they simply get lucky in a few blue areas? One of those blue areas being my city, New York, where Democratic Socialist candidate Zohran Mamdani won the election and will become the new mayor. And a lot of people are like really confused about how this happened. And if you're one of those people, you really need to keep watching. If you don't understand why Mamdani won, I'm sorry to say, but you're kind of like the liberals in 2016 who didn't understand why Trump won. It's actually extremely understandable why Zohran Mamdani won, and it's not just because New York is full of commies or whatever. He is objectively the best Democratic candidate that they've had in a very, very long time. Like, I know the bar is in hell there, but he's young, he's energetic, he's charismatic, and people are really tired of the White House doubling as a retirement home. And of course, I like many of his economic policies. I like the universal childcare thing, the transportation, flipping off the Christopher Columbus statue. That's the shit I don't like. Bitch, that's our fucking guy. He was a brave Italian.
Yeah, that's the thing that 90% of people don't like.
Explorer who discovered America, and in this house, Christopher Columbus is a hero. End of story. I've said this many times, but I don't think the good left-wing policies can even exist alongside the bad left-wing policies. Like, I don't know how you can have free transportation, but also be soft on crime. Like, I don't know, like, in what world does that work out? You can't have nice, clean, free transportation if a bunch of drug addicts and violent felons are going around stabbing people and setting them on fire. You can't have nice things if you don't have rules to enforce those nice things. You know what I mean?
And that's what's so frustrating, is because the Republicans will say something like, oh, well, we need to make the public transportation safer. Okay, I like that. What do you have next? But we're going to be increasing the price of public transportation. Okay, great. I don't like that. We're going to be getting rid of public transportation. We're going to do private ride sharing through everyone can use Lyft or Uber. You were so close. So close. And the same thing with the Democrats. Oh, we're going to do free public transportation. Okay, all right. Are we going to make it safe? No. We're still going to let everyone out, and the public transportation is essentially just going to be mobile homeless shelters. You were so close. Once again, so close. Could we do something about this? Can we please just be normal? Can you please just be normal? Why can't you be normal? Why is it so hard to just be normal? To just sit down and think logically for a second and go, oh, wait a second. If we have free transportation, no one's going to use it if it's unsafe. We should focus on making it safe. What a crazy, radical idea.
It's always such a breath of fucking fresh air when I go back to visit my family in the suburbs of Long Island, and I go to the CVS, and the fucking toothpaste is free from their plexiglass prisons. I shouldn't have to wait 10 minutes.
And see, the other thing with that is when you don't enforce laws about theft and people are just stealing everything, the businesses will go under and they will leave. And then the people that were working there don't have anywhere to work anymore. And so they have to start stealing in order to make ends meet too. And it just cascades in snowballs. It seems so obvious to understand and wrap your mind around this. And I don't know if it's purposeful incompetence or if everyone is really that stupid. I don't understand. I don't get it. Obviously, that is going to be how it plays out. You don't need a 5-year study to figure out, hey, wait a second, this policy was a bad idea. You could just read it and go, hey, this sounds really stupid.
Minutes for some poor wagey to come unlock the cagey so I can buy fucking shampoo. We don't have to live that way. Maybe he'll do great, or maybe he gets into power and immediately cucks to the establishment like some other people. I don't like to talk about it. I just don't know how the hell anyone thought Andrew Cuomo was going to win. He killed a bunch of grandmas during COVID.
As you admitted this week, you personally altered the state health department report to undercount the death total, to hide the death total, and then evaded and lied to these families for 5 years.
Yeah, that's so funny, isn't it?
A shit ton of people. Bro, what?
That's hilarious.
Plus, he doesn't even live in New York City. He doesn't live in the city he's running to be mayor of.
And that's a problem, too. How can you run for office in a place that you don't even live? Andrew Cuomo gets to live in some gated community somewhere in some other city and then come in and play, leader in New York when he doesn't have to go walking around on the streets in New York. He doesn't have to deal with the traffic. He doesn't have to deal with garbage buildup. He doesn't have to go into the CVS and then wonder, why is everything locked away? Is this an outcome of something, of policy that I passed? He doesn't have to deal with it.
Cuomo just kind of expected to win based on name recognition alone and being like, hey, at least I'm not the other guy. Sound familiar? Trump actually offered a vision. Make America great again. Mamdani offered a vision. A New York City you can afford. So people took a chance on him. People wanted something different. Andrew Cuomo, he had no vision or anything. Oh man, I love tuning into a debate about New York City, and 80% of it is about another f***ing country.
The first foreign visit by a mayor of New York is always considered significant. Where would you go first?
First visit, I would visit the Holy Land.
I would go to Israel.
I'd make my 4th trip to Israel.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs.
And see, like, this is a very reasonable answer. Hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay here and, work on New York. Why is everyone's answer Israel? It would be like if everyone's answer was China. That'd be weird, right? That'd be weird. Or if it was South Korea. That'd just be weird. Why is everyone... What's so special about South Korea? Why are you guys all going to South Korea? I can't afford food. I'm afraid of getting stabbed in the neck. And you're going to go to South Korea, to another country, to do what? How's that helping me? Why would I vote for you? What is this?
And focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel?
That was the exact moment.
And why is it that it's an assumed, will you? When are you going to? Is there a reason why you're not going to? The question was, which country would you go and visit?
I knew Zoran was going to win. Bro was just surrounded by NPCs. I love how they're like, where would you go? And Zoran was like, I'm gonna stay here. And instead of being like, no, Zoran, the question was, where would you go? They're like, why wouldn't you go to Israel? Like, that's the answer to the question. Like, that's just the default answer to that question. His win was very much in part a direct response to the affordability crisis that many Americans are facing. So what is the GOP's answer to the affordability crisis? Oh, great news, guys. There is no affordability crisis. It doesn't exist. It's all in your head, silly. Need to save money?
Oh, yeah. And Trump was saying the affordability was a Democrat hoax and the word was just made up by Democrats. You used the word yourself not even a year ago.
Simply don't buy your grandmother a Christmas present this year.
Budget, budget, budget. You need a plan. Also remember, adults don't need gifts, okay? Focus on the people in your life who are age 3 to 18. Grandma doesn't need slippers. If they don't live by you, don't get them a gift. Now's not...
You want to know something crazy? 70% of people who are using buy now, pay later apps are using it to buy food. That's a problem. That is an issue. Like Dave, Affirm, I think there's a couple of others. That's not a good thing. That means that people are putting themselves into debt at 30-40% interest rates for groceries. That's not the American dream, guys.
The time to spend and break the banks.
Zoran's win was also basically a direct response to the housing crisis in America. So what is the GOP's response to the pie-in-the-sky, commie gobbledygook that Zoran Mamdani is selling? Surely they have a better solution.
Here we go. The White House is floating this idea. Bill Pulte is saying, thanks to President Trump, we can indeed work on the 50-year mortgage, a complete game changer. How does that work in dollars? Here you go. 30-year fixed mortgage right now. You're paying $2,038.
I really appreciate it. That's
$8
awesome.
a month,
Thanks.
principal and interest on a $400,000 home.
That's awesome.
At the bottom, under 50 years,
That's
you save
so
a couple
helpful.
$100 a month.
Yeah, the reason why I couldn't get a house is because of $70 a month. The $70 was breaking me. $70 was just too much for me to come up with. But now with the 50, I can afford it now. It's $70 cheaper. Thanks.
Month at $1,822
Jesus
principal and
Christ.
interest. That is proposed Do you like this idea?
I do not like this idea.
Not lowering prices, not building more housing. No, just being a good little slave to the bank for 50 years. You might as well be a rentoid forever in this case. Like, at least you don't have to fix your own dishwasher. You will own nothing and be happy. Doesn't that sound great, Gen Z? Vote for us. We'll release the Epstein files and finally drain the swamp. Awesome. Finally, justice. Here it comes, the Epstein files phase 1. We got all your favorite E-celebs here. Don't you think that's a little tacky? I mean, like, this is an international child trap. The Epstein files?
Yeah, and it's hey, children being trafficked. Maybe let's handle this with a little bit more decorum and class instead of tossing it to a bunch of TikTok influencers so they can make TikTok dances and put sad music to these horrible crimes. How about you come and tell us when we're arresting people?
Files are on my desk. Oh, that's great. That's what we've been waiting for. Well? Oh, they don't exist. Wait, what? Yeah, the Epstein files don't exist. They're a Democrat hoax. But you just said, hey, what the fuck? That's my wallet. Sorry, Israel needs new weapons. Bye. Psst. What do you want, Democrat? Vote for us. Why? What do you have to offer? Hey, that's my wallet again. What are you people doing? Sorry, Israel needs new weapons. Bye. The Epstein files are a really big deal. This is not a partisan issue. You should absolutely care about an international child trafficking blackmail operation consisting of the most powerful people in the world. And anyone telling you to move on is coping, gaslighting, or in on it. If whatever is in there is so damning that it is a national security risk, the people deserve to know. Like, I don't know about you, but if we are paying taxes to a bunch of satanic pedophiles, I would like to know. That is information I would like to know. Like, I already know we're doing that, but I would like some confirmation. Okay, so literally as I am filming this, Trump is saying he is releasing the Epstein files. So I guess they weren't a hoax. I'm gonna be so honest.
Yeah, the Epstein files that didn't exist are going to get released. Okay, that was weird. Why did we even go through that wild goose chase? I don't understand.
I have no idea what the f is going on, you guys. I'm sure when this video gets posted, there's already gonna be more things that have happened. Also, Mike Johnson apparently said they need to make changes to the files to make sure we, quote, don't do permanent damage to the political system.
Maybe if those files are going to cause permanent damage to the political system, that we need to change the political system. If these files are so disgusting and so bad and so many people are wrapped up in it and they're all involved that it would do permanent damage to everyone's career in DC. Maybe you shouldn't have a career in DC. Have you considered that? Oh no, we can't release the evidence that this person who works at a school was doing horrible things to children in the school because it might do damage to the school's reputation. The hell are you talking about? Then maybe the school should be irreparably damaged. If they're allowing this and doing this, what are you talking about? Why are we protecting people who are going around and doing these things to kids, to children? What is going on? Why is everyone trying to protect these animals?
Releasing the Epstein files would do damage to the political system, then so be it. Then it deserves to be damaged. It deserves to be destroyed. Just release the files. After all, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Isn't that right, government? But But it wasn't just the Epstein Files thing that has MAGA feeling a little demoralized lately.
Does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we
a
have
country
plenty of talented people
no, you
here.
don't. No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to.
Yeah, you know what that certain talent is? It's working below what you're worth. Because you can get an H-1B1 visa person to come to America and work for doing a job, paying them 40 grand a year instead of the 60 or 70 that that job calls for. Because what are they going to do? Are they going to stay in their country where they get paid dollars a day? And once you hire them, then they can't leave. What are they going to do? Quit? Then their visa gets revoked and they get to go back home. No, they're going to put their head down and keep working. Whereas if it was you or I working, doing that job, and our manager tells us, no, we're going to do a pizza party instead, I will quit.
We've talked about this a few times on this channel, actually very recently in the male loser epidemic video. The no talented Americans thing is a myth pushed on us by corpos and billionaires, so they can hire foreign workers who will work for less money and won't unionize. Worker drones who will work under the coercion of deportation, essentially creating infinite scab labor. Even though there are so many Americans in these fields looking for jobs. But those spoiled Americans will ask for a living wage so they can live in a 600-foot square.
And that's the other thing. I already have to compete for the job with my peers in the country. Now I'm also having to compete with everyone who's coming, everyone in the world, because anyone can get an H-1B visa. Now I have to compete with the entire world for this job. Not only that, you just fired a few 100,000 people from the federal government. Now I have to compete with them too. Great. Thanks for increasing all of my competition. And guess what? Because there's such a flood, there's such a huge volume of people who need jobs. Well, now the employers can be pickier. They can decrease how much they're going to pay because someone is going to take the job.
Apartment. How dare they? We can't do that. So import 1 billion immigrants. After all, it's good for business.
Folks are not thrilled about this idea of hundreds of thousands of foreign students in the United States.
If we were to cut that in half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business.
So what?
And it's not that I want them, but I view it as a business.
Unfortunately, America does feel like nothing but 3 corporations in a trench coat. But America is not a business. America is not a corporation. It is a nation. The contrast of what Trump is saying here compared to how he used to talk is staggering. Republicans embracing populism, at least rhetorically, is what gave rise to Donald Trump and fundamentally changed the way Republicans do politics in America. If you go back and watch the debates of Donald Trump in 2016, it's crazy.
We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East. They lied. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
All right.
I remember being like, damn, that's not how politicians in general really talked at the time. Like, we would see it from Bernie Sanders and maybe like Ron Paul, but to get up on stage in a Republican debate in front of Republican donors saying that kind of shit was unheard of. Bro was getting booed. Trump won in 2016 by decrying the bloodlust and warmongering of the Republican Party, but also by speaking to the economic woes of the average working class American.
Exactly.
Basically saying, I see you, to people who felt like they haven't been seen by either party in a very long time. Like, I saw people in my life, my neighbors and stuff, that were all like Obama voters, like just flipped to Trump, and now like all of Long Island. Long Island is like the Florida of the Northeast, bro. It is like Trump country there now. Before Trump, oh, my nuggies are here. My nuggies are here. 1 second. 1 second. I must go get my nuggies. It's nuggie time. 34-year-old woman, by the way. Mother, by the way. Before Trump, the Democrats basically relied on talking about how the Republican Party didn't care about the working class. But eventually, the problem for Democrats was the working class didn't care about them. But now it seems like the Republican Party is going back on all of that and becoming the Bush-era neoconservative party again.
Because it was all a lie. It was just to get into power.
Right as they're winning, embracing freaks like Lindsey Graham.
So I just want to say, I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes. Trump is my favorite president. We've run out of bombs.
Great. So we're going back to killing people, lowering taxes, and blowing people up. I thought that Trump was talking about, hey, all of these wars that we were involved in, we shouldn't have been involved. And now we're back to it. It's just the Republicans and Democrats taking turns, pretending like they're for us, and then screwing us.
We didn't run out of bombs in World War II.
Republicans, is that what you want your party to be? Lowering taxes and killing people? We tried that already. To many Republicans, the solution to the affordability crisis, wreaking havoc on Americans, is simply trusting the free market, working hard, and if that doesn't work, they bust out all reliable.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. Yeah, I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up, but the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that.
Ah yes, the classic. Just move. Just move from Economic Zone 67 to Economic Zone 69. I don't know, man. Maybe some people actually like where they live. Maybe they want to make their community better. This is like the libertarian version of just deal with it when you talk to leftists about crime. Like, no, we shouldn't just deal with it. We shouldn't just move. Maybe we can make the cities in our country livable and safe. Maybe better things are possible, actually. My husband and I moved away from our families because of his job, and it f***ing sucks. It sucks raising kids without an extended family around. Say hi to grandma on FaceTime. Not normal, not natural. When I was growing up, it was like aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents were just coming in and out of my house, like bringing over food, like, hey, I got some mancati. I would be babysat by my cousins and my aunts. And because we moved away, my kid won't have that. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's one reason many young people are putting off having children. The complete lack of community, the lack of a village. If you can't afford to live where your family lives, just move to fucking Gary, Indiana, where there's nobody around and no jobs and no family and no friends, but hey, at least you can afford a house there. That's not how life should work, Ben. Maybe take a step back and try to understand. Am I doing bird hands too much? You guys have made me so insecure about the fucking bird hands thing ever since this meme.
Oh, there she is.
Okay, listen, I'm a woman, okay? We are programmed to scold children. And when no children are around, we scold people on the internet, okay? Anyway, Nick Fuentes is a far-right commentator and a controversial figure to say the least. But his main topic he covers is Israel, which is an extremely hot topic that many other right-wing commentators seem to not want to touch. And the rare times they do touch it, it's them telling you not to talk about it, questioning why you care so much, or shape-shifting into the woke mob they fought against for so many years, calling you names, calling for you to be censored. What's funny is they didn't care about any of Nick Fuentes' rants on like race or women. They only started caring when his rants on Israel were blowing up. Nick recently did an interview with Tucker Carlson, which completely ignited.
Yeah, when he was going off on racist tirades or, you know, stuff about women, like your body, my choice, it was crickets.
The MAGA civil war that was brewing on the right for some time now. It got so ridiculous that even Chuck Schumer went on the Senate floor and called for a disavowal of Nick Fuentes. Yeah. Sir, with all due respect, none. Why do politicians need a resolution?
Don't you have other more important things to do? Should we make a list of everyone that needs to be decried and that we need to make a resolution and go through each individual one by one and discuss who is going to get disavowed and decried? And no, what are you doing? We're talking about 50-year mortgages. How about you fix that fucking problem? No, people are having to take out essentially payday loans to buy groceries. How about you work on that problem? Once you take care of those things, then maybe I want to hear about what you have to say about some random dude on the internet. Until then, shut the fuck up.
The Senate to disagree with a citizen. Hello, I have gathered you all here today to disavow Hitler Bussy 420. People can't afford groceries, Charles. Ben Shapiro, in particular, has spent the last few months extremely confused and angry about Zohran Mamdani and Nick Fuentes becoming popular in the mainstream, all while his numbers continue to drop. I honestly don't think he understands what is happening here, so I am going to explain to you, Ben, what exactly is going on here. The American dream does not exist anymore for most people. Young people followed advice that worked for older generations, and it got them nowhere. Young people are tired of this stale, moldy, old, dead consensus that has dominated American politics for a very long time. The one that dragged us into all these foreign wars and sold us out for some cheap plastic shit from China. Young people are tired of being told to sit down and shut up and pledge allegiance to the free market in a country that seems to not give a shit about them, as well as a foreign country they have absolutely no connection to. For so long, establishment hacks and establishment shills looked at the issues bothering the people and just kind of dismissed them. Can't afford to live where you grew up? Just move. Don't like that the toothpaste is locked behind plexiglass? Just deal with it. Think it's kind of f***ed up how you work 40 hours a week and still can't afford to pay rent? What are you, some kind of communist? You don't like funding a genocide with your tax dollars? What are you, anti-Semitic? If you don't address the issues of the people will gravitate towards those who are addressing those issues. It's not Mamdani's fault he won. It's yours. It's not Nick Fuentes' fault he's popular. It's yours. The tragedy of Ben Shapiro is that he led a life worshipping the free market, only to lose in the free marketplace of ideas. Now, with all this neocon rhetoric coming out of the GOP, are the Democrats going to pick up the populist ball that they are fumbling? Are they actually going to get their shit together? Well, they are trying, because they have written an article called Deciding to Win, where after interviewing over 300,000 American voters from both parties, they may have finally discovered the secret to winning.
To give ourselves the best chance to win, we recommend the following changes to our approach. Democrats need to 1. Focus our messaging on an economic program centered on lowering costs, growing the economy, creating jobs, and expanding the social safety net. 2. Advocate for popular economic policies. Moderate our positions where our agenda is unpopular, including on issues like immigration, public safety.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up about things that are unpopular, like immigration. 65% of Americans, according to CNN, want every single illegal immigrant out of the country. Stop fighting it. Unpopular things like public safety. Public safety? Why do you have an unpopular position on public safety? And if you do, why won't you shut the fuck up about it? Just shut the fuck up. Nobody wants to hear it. Stop pitching them. Stop coming into the meeting, into the group meeting, and giving everyone your shitty ideas.
Energy production, and some identity and cultural issues.
So basically it took you guys 10 years, millions of dollars, and dozens of Microsoft team meetings to come to the conclusion that everyone has been saying forever. You wasted a decade worshipping at the altar of mentally ill Karens, and now you're acting like, hey, what if we were normal is a groundbreaking political discovery. F*** you. I could have told you all this for free. It is a bad sign that it took you over a decade to come to the same conclusion that my audience has come to, a decade.
If it took you a decade to get to these answers, how long is it going to take for you to actually act on those things? Another decade?
Ago. And they're all retarded. Please reflect on this, I beg of you. Also, what do you mean you had unpopular positions on public safety? Like, why would you even say that out loud? Yeah, let's vote for the party that admits it was wrong about the issue of crackheads shanking people in the street. I love this quote from Nancy Pelosi, randomly shoved in here.
Winning an election is a decision. You make a decision to win, and then you make every decision in favor of winning.
Wow.
How deep! How thought-provoking!
So
Thank you,
profound.
Nancy. What would we do without you? probably win an election.
Democrats have changed our focus. In comparison with the Democratic Party of 2012, today's Democratic Party is more focused on issues like climate change, democracy, abortion, and identity and cultural concerns, and less focused on the economy and middle class. The table below shows this shift. Through an analysis of the prevalence of selected words in the 2024 Democratic Party platform, in comparison with the 2012 Democratic Party platform.
This whole study is really interesting, but I need you guys to see this chart because when I first saw this, the scream I screamed. So Democrats since 2012 have increased their rhetoric on race by, sit down, 1,137%. On the gays, 1,044%. Their rhetoric on men has decreased by 51%. It is now negative 51%. On fathers, negative 100%. They just stopped talking about that shit. Veterans, negative 31%. The economy, negative 51% because nobody cares about that, right? The middle class, 79%, but I guess you can't really talk about something that is disappearing. And jobs, negative 47%. It somehow gets worse. Apparently voters trust Republicans more
on things that nobody cares about. That's a problem. That is an issue.
On the most important issues to them, and trust Democrats the most on the least important issues to them. Like they literally care the least about LGBT, but trust Democrats the most with it. The most popular Democratic policies among voters are things like lowering drug prices, banning stock trading, expanding Medicare, and raising the minimum wage. While the most unpopular Democratic policies are things like abolishing the police, providing free healthcare to illegal immigrants, and affirmative action. You're telling me this for the first time. Democrats, here is some advice for free. You can't just be MAGA light. Why would people drink Mr. Pibb when Dr. Pepper is right there? You know what I'm saying? You gotta bring something different, something better to the table. And that difference should be working class focused economic populism. I don't just want two neocon parties, okay? But all of this is pointless when it's clear the Dems are not changing at all. They're just gonna change their messaging. They're putting pretty wrapping paper and a bow on a big fat smelly turd. There is a chance that the Democrats may win based entirely on Orange Man bad. Again. Which means they might get into office by learning absolutely f***ing nothing. Again. Then the voters will go, oh my god, nothing has changed, and then they'll vote for a Republican. American politics is just a revolving door of villains, isn't it? Rest assured, whoever wins.
Yeah, and according to the Epstein files, it's not even villains, it's monsters. It's a bunch of people who take advantage of children. And everyone's protecting them. The entire system is just designed so that then people can get into power, so that they could do things to kids and then get away with it. That's what it seems like. And they just take turns playing King of the Hill, while all of them do the exact same thing.
We lose. If you're actually gonna do this shit, if you're actually gonna do what you're saying in this little article, you better be going whole hog, not just the tip. I'm talking embracing socialism. For many years, I have been smeared as many things. Grifter, flip-flopper, fence-sitter, racist, sexist, homophobic, but I am not a grifter, flip-flopper, or a fence-sitter. I'm simply living in 2055. You see, America has been a hyper-capitalist, economically center-right, socially center-left country since about the mid-century. And I know libertarians in my audience are gonna be like, it's not capitalism, it's cronyism. Okay, whatever the f you want to call it, it sucks, okay?
Yeah,
So
whatever it is, it sucks and I hate it.
We were a
I don't care what it's called.
Focused, community-focused,
This
working
sucks.
class-focused, economically left, socially right country. All the data shows more people fall into that quadrant, the populist quadrant, the socialist quadrant, if you will, than the current system we are in today. If a socialist party existed, it would be incredibly popular, but it doesn't exist. And that's probably by design, honestly. The Social Democrat Party of Denmark has passed many progressive policies that liberals in America would only dream of. Protection from rent hikes, free college and healthcare, carbon taxes, and a very strong welfare system. But The Social Democrat Party also believes in a strict immigration policy. They believe that if immigration is too fast or chaotic, it puts pressure on working class communities, weakens social unity, and makes it harder to maintain their strong welfare system.
Yeah, it puts pressure on the welfare system and it all comes crashing down. Here's a great idea. The welfare system is only for citizens. Why can't we have that? Why can't we have what Norway has? It's working for them. Why can't we have it? We're the wealthiest country in the world in all of history. Why can't we have that?
Wow, what a f***ing grifter Denmark is. I feel like so many people nowadays are like terminally left-right brain to the point where like they look at issues and instead of being like
team
that
sports.
Solution makes sense to me. I believe that. I agree with that. They instead go, that's the left-wing solution, therefore I will believe in that. And it's so stupid and hyper-partisan and makes absolutely no sense to me. And that's why I think like a lot of left-right brain hyper-partisan people don't understand me or people like me. That's why they call me a centrist or fence-sitter or flip-flopper or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm not a fence-sitter. I have many strong opinions. You just don't like them. And no, I'm not a flip-flopper just because you don't understand the concept of having opinions that don't perfectly fall on the arbitrary, always changing left-right axis that is American circus politics. There's nothing incoherent about my beliefs on paper. None of them contradict one another. I don't understand. She likes free healthcare but doesn't want to chemically castrate children? She believes in workers' rights but wants a stricter border? I don't get it. Like, where is the contradiction? I'm basically just Bernie Sanders before he got his spine surgically removed by the DNC. In conclusion, MAGA and the Republican Party embracing populism is what made them so popular in the first place. But if the Republican Party's answer to all these issues young people are having is, F you, just move, you're not talented, maybe you'll own a home when you're 70 years old, they're doomed. Like they had a small, brief fling with populism and ghosted it. Just pumped and dumped. Like a fat whore they're ashamed of and won't bring out on dates in public.
As I'm editing this, Trump and Mamdani had a meeting together and it was very interesting.
We were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes and people had no idea. When he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. We agree on a lot more than I would have thought.
I'm sorry, this is my new favorite problematic Yowie ship. They love each other. Maybe it's not over, folks. Maybe the power of friendship and populism will save us all.
He loves them.
Listen, I want my kids to grow up in a safe and affordable world where they can get jobs and they can start a family and then they can have the same for their kids. And I feel like at the end of the day, that's what most people want, left and right. They just have different ideas on how to get there. It just so happens my ideas happen to be the correct ones, and if you disagree with them, you will be sent to the re-education camp. Do you want one?
Well, we've got those going already.
Pledge your allegiance to shoesalism and you get a nuggie. So that was that little video. If you liked it, please subscribe for more. And if you want to help support the channel, donate to my Patreon, link down below.
Yeah, I honestly think that things are just going to continue to get worse. The Democrats haven't learned anything, as we can tell by what's been happening in Minnesota. And the Republicans haven't learned anything by involving us in Colombia, Iran, and there's another place too. I can't even remember. Yeah, it just, no one's learned anything. And they're not going to, because why do you need to learn?